welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be working on a DIY wall art project, but before I get started, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd love for you to join the community, so you could just hit the subscribe button below. Now, with wall art pieces, they can be pretty expensive, so it's always nice when you can make something at home that's pretty simple but still looks really cool. And for today's DIY wall art project, I actually found it on the Pottery Barn website. It was this wooden wall art piece that I thought looked really cool because it kind of reminded me of a cityscape with like skyscrapers against a night sky. And then I read the description, and of course it's something totally different, and it's actually meant to be an abstract of piano keys, which I still think is really cool because I grew up playing piano and it's kind of like a nod to my music background. Now for this Pottery Barn piece, I actually thought it was pretty expensive for what it is, and I also needed different dimensions. I wanted to have something to put above the headboard in our bedroom, and so I needed a piece that would be wider to fill that space. So for the dimensions of this piece, I'm going to be making it 54 inches wide by 24 inches tall. And as far as the materials, for the wood slats, I'm going to be using a pine lattice molding board that I'm going to cut down to size. So given the dimensions of the piece, I'm going to need 31 slats. So that's going to be 8 boards that are 8 feet long each. And for the wood frame that I'm going to glue the wood slats onto, I bought 1 by 2 inch boards, and I got 2 of those to make the frame. Now for the colors of my wall art piece, I'm using 2 different wood stains. For the lighter tone, I'm using a golden pecan color, which is actually a wood stain I have left over from my lamp DIY project. And if you haven't seen that video, you should definitely check it out after this one. And then for the darker stain, I'm actually using an espresso colored wood stain that's gonna match the rest of the furniture in the bedroom. Now with that, I just bought a little 8-ounce container because a little goes a long way with stain. So to get started, I'm just cutting my pieces down to the sizes that I need. And for the frame pieces, the top and bottom piece I'm cutting to 54 inches for the dimensions of the wall art piece. And for the side pieces of the frame, I'm cutting those down to 21 inches. And then for the wood slats, I'm cutting those down to 24 inches. Okay, now that I've got my pieces all cut and sanded, I'm just going to apply the first stain, which is a golden pecan color that's going to match the table lamps in my bedroom, and I'm just going to give it a good stir first, and then apply in the direction of the grain. So now that the first stain has dried, I'm just going to be applying the dark stain now for the top of the wall art piece. And what I've done is just mark with a pencil where I want that dark stain to start. So what I'm going to do is now align the board pieces along those pencil marks and then draw the painter's tape straight across so I can just paint on the stain evenly on all of the boards. Now I'm going to add another coat of wood stain to the wood pieces so they get to the color that I want. But before I do, I'm going to share a tough lesson that I learned while doing this, is that wood stain bleeds under painter's tape through the wood grain. And so I looked it up online, and the best way to minimize this is to first score the wood where you want the line to be, and then just paint as closely as you can to that without going over. Now the other option is to just use acrylic paint, but I really wanted the wood grain to show through, so I'm going to stick with the stain and see how it goes. While my stain is drying, I've prepared my frame pieces here, and I've just used my speed square to make sure all the corners are an even 90 degrees before I clamped all the pieces together. Now I'm going to apply glue to the edges of the first side piece, And wood glue, when it fully dries and it's used correctly, is actually really strong, and it can be even stronger than the wood itself. Now that the frame is dried for over an hour, I'm going to glue on the wood slats. And I'm just applying the glue to the frame and then pressing the slat in place. And it's good to wiggle the slat a little bit so that the glue spreads out more. As I got to the end, my measurements were a little bit off by 1/8 of an inch, so I needed to just readjust the slats a bit. Now, to clamp down the top and bottom edges of the slats, I just used some metal shelf brackets that I had left over and wrapped those in parchment paper to protect the wood. So I let the glue set overnight, and now I'm just going to get this piece ready to hang. I'll be using D-rings and wire, so first I'm going to pre-drill some holes to attach the D-rings. And I'm setting these 6.5 inches below the top of the frame. When attaching the wire, I'm just making sure that it stays about 2 inches under the top. And now we're ready to hang. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's DIY wooden wall art project. And if you like the video, please be sure to hit that thumbs up button below.